Stadium. It's Friday, number 6 of the 1999 high school football season. Tonight, the annual rivalry for the Victory Bell is being renewed as the first place undefeated Wadsworth Grizzlies take on the host 1-4 Norton Panthers. And it's going to be another Suburban League showdown tonight. Hi again, everybody. This is John Bernard along with Larry Varner. And the question for the Wadsworth Grizzlies is the status of quarterback Mike Hoover. We'll see how effective he can be tonight after winning a great game against Green last week. Norton coming off a big win against the Talmadge Blue Devils. Norton, not much size on this team, Larry, and they're looking to improve each game this season as the season goes along, and the Norton Panthers are going to see where they're at up against an awesome Grizzly team. Yeah, Norton is going to be the smallest team physically that Wadsworth faces all year. They'll run the ball about 95% of the time. Quarterback Pete Onderation is a good runner, but not much of a passer. And they started some new wrinkle last week. They started a freshman running back, Tyler Turchin, who is a state caliber wrestler. So that's something to watch for the new running back as far as Norton is concerned. Norton kicking off to Wadsworth, and the game's underway. Nick Silverstein kicking off for the Grizzlies. Ball's fumbled around, picked up by Joe Tricomi, and he's tackled at about the 18-yard line by a number of Norton Panthers. So here comes the Wadsworth offense out, and I don't believe that Mike Hoover is going to start the game. I think it's going to be Jeff Hanna instead, and Jeff might be going both ways tonight as quarterback and also, of course, the free safety. But I have a hunch that you're going to see Hoover in there before too long. Look for Wadsworth to do a little more running this week and less passing. Try to get some time off the clock because I don't think Norton's going to score him any points. Jeff Hanna under center. Ben Vujis in motion. Quick handoff to the fullback, Tony Moeller, gains a couple of yards across the 20. It'll be second down, about 7. Back to this Norton Panther team. They've been having trouble scoring points. They won last week 22-21 in Talmadge, but that was in overtime, and I believe one of their 2 regular time touchdowns came on a kickoff return. So Norton's only averaging about 6 points a game on offense, and it's run the ball, like we saw with Medina, like we saw with Green, but the difference is where Green had the quarterback to throw the ball to mix things up, it doesn't seem that Norton does. So you'd look for a lot of running on this particular game. So Jeff Hanna is in there in place of senior quarterback Mike Hoover. Hanna has thrown 1 pass this season, an 11-yard completion. And there's a bit of a mix-up there, and Wadsworth had to take a timeout already in the second play of the game. So we'll see what happens here. We have Copeland and Osterland split wide for the Grizzlies. I formation.
There it is, hit it!
Fake handoff and throw downfield to Chris. Brick jumps up, makes the catch, tackled at midfield. I don't know how many times this Wadsworth team has proven me wrong this year. What I come out and say, well, they're not going to throw the ball. So in the second play, a 28-yard completion to Chris Brink. You want to keep an eye on the Norton defense. The strength of their defense is in their inside linebackers. Number 44, Harmon, and number 55, Pat Williams. They're the ones that are going to make the plays. So that brings up a first down and 10 for Wadsworth. The ball's on the 48-yard line, and we'll see if they keep passing or try to control the ball a little more with the run here.
Number 33, the ball carrier, Chris Hawkins.
And as you can see, he went nowhere. Chris Hawkins in there, Larry. That was a great play. I mean, he came in and clean and hit the running back in the backfield. That was a loss of 6 for Wadsworth, so it's going to bring up second down and 16. You know, you just look out there at the Norton team, and you can see physically how small they are. Wadsworth this year is not a big physical team, but they certainly do outsize the Norton team. Chris Hawkins getting the start. Well, not the start, but in the game rather quickly. Chris, only a sophomore. Pass over the line to Osterland, and he didn't get anything on that play as he was tackled at the 46. That was a gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards on the play, but remember they had 16 to go. Another nice defensive play by the Norton Panthers, so it looks like the defense is here to play ball.
So this will be the third down play for Wadsworth. See what they pull here. One thing I think Wadsworth would like to do tonight is control the ball a little more. We didn't have time of possession against Green, but I think Green had possession of the ball about 80% of the time because of Wadsworth's quick scoring drives.
Hannah back to pass over the middle, caught by Adam Copeland, just shy of the first down.
He's going to be, no, they're calling it incomplete, I think.
Well, he had his back turned to me, couldn't quite see if he caught the ball. He didn't. Wadsworth will punt.
So Norton will take over the ball probably deep in their own territory. Back to punt for Wadsworth, number 45, Tony Moeller. And done a creditable job of punting the ball this year.
Back deep for the Panthers. Off the end of Moeller's toes, bounces at the 30, rolls to the 25. It's down there by Pat McCarthy. Back deep for Norton was Dan Milliken and Louis Ewell, or Lewis Ewell.
It was only a 28-yard punt, but there was no run back. So Norton will take over 1st and 10 on their 26-yard line. Watch for Norton to do a lot of running. They come out with a 2 tight end set, and they set 1 halfback out to the side. The quarterback is a good runner, and they'll run 18, 19 times out of 20 plays.
Yeah, Pete Underation, a junior, has a lot of toughness. He'll take some hits, get back up. Like you said, he's a smart runner, and he's a pretty accurate passer, too. It's a quick flip and no gain. Tyler Urchin, the ball carrier.
Well, one thing about this Norton running team, they're pretty much a north-south running game. They don't run east and west. In fact, one of the coaches was comparing their running back, Lance Harmon, to the type of running back that Wadsworth has had the last couple of years, like David Lance, that just puts his head down and runs up the middle. So they don't seem to be too quick to the outside. And watch for the Wadsworth defenders to really cram in the box. That is the area just behind the line of scrimmage. And they've got, I'd say 9.5 players in the box right now looking for the run.
Pitch to Turchin, tries to get around the left end, doesn't get anywhere, tackled at the line of scrimmage. 3rd down for Norton.
Well, I think the problem that Norton's having right off the bat is their line is not moving anybody out on the Wadsworth side. So in 2 rushes, they've only gained 1 yard. And this is an obvious passing down, but Norton doesn't pass the ball all that much, so it's going to be interesting to see what they try here. Coach sent in a play. See what Andrichin calls this time.
Third and 9. 7 minutes, 45 seconds to go, first quarter. Underation keeps it himself, then throws it. Nice play, and number 4, Kevin Johnson, is drilled.
He caught the ball, but when he was hit, a great hit, the ball just popped out of his hands and went out of bounds. I think that was Hannah on the hit. So it's going to be an incomplete pass. Watch the hit here. The ball is poorly thrown. It's just like a little rainbow out there, which gives the defenders too much time to come up. And that is one great stick by Jeff Hannah. So Norton will turn around and they will punt the ball. Back deep for Wadsworth. It looks like Osterlund and Tracomie.
Nick Silverstein back to punt for Norton.
I'm sorry, that's Bugis and Tracomie are back deep.
Bad punt, low, spiraling. Wadsworth lets it bounce, takes a Norton roll to the 31-yard line of Wadsworth, where the Grizzlies will take over on offense.
Well, that was a 43-yard punt, most of it on the roll because it was not a good punt. And Wadsworth will take over the second time here on offense. And let's see who's in quarterback now, because it was scheduled that Jeff Hannah was going to start because Mike Hoover missed some practice.
And it is Mike Hoover.
But Hoover's back in there. So it'll be 1st and 10, Wadsworth on the 31-yard line of Norton.
Hoover hurt himself running for a 2-point conversion late in the game at Green. He walked off the field on his own, but he soon had some numbness as the ball is run to about the 34. And he had didn't have any feeling down his arms and into his legs, so he was rushed to the hospital. Glad to see everything's all right with Mike.
Well, it was a stinger, and a stinger is very painful and very discomforting, but they're not particularly serious. But with these kids, you don't want to take a chance. So it was a good thing they put him in the hospital overnight, but Hoover's fine. 2nd down and 7 for the Grizzlies.
Ben Osterlund runs behind the line. Hoover looking and intercepted. Number 29, Matt Mealy, is run out of bounds and tackled by Tony Moeller. That's only the second interception of the season for Mike Hoover.
That was a 20-yard return on the interception. A very nice interception. The defender stepped right in front of the Wadsworth wide receiver, is just cutting across the middle. And the ball was just a little bit underthrown by Hoover. He didn't have quite enough zip on the ball and didn't get there, and there was the interception. So Norton has an outstanding opportunity to take the lead here. 1st and 10 on the Wadsworth 26 with 6:30 to go in the first quarter.
And should Norton score here, again, the Grizzlies not striking first in a game, the Revere game, in which Wadsworth shut out the Minutemen. That's the only game Wadsworth Grizzlies have scored first.
Yeah, 4 out of the first 5 games they've been scored on had to come from behind. And most of those scores were really quick scores in the first quarter, too. So there was a motion or a procedure penalty on Norton, moves it back 5 yards and brings up a 1st and 15. And for a team like Norton, that's a critical penalty. If you run the ball, you're going to have to try to make your 10 yards on 3 downs. When it goes to 15, it's a whole different ball game. So that's a big penalty against Norton, even though it's only a 5-yard penalty. 2 tight ends, back goes in motion.
Kevin Johnson in motion. Play action, underation rolling to the left, cutting back into the middle of the field. Steps over a couple defenders, bounce off a couple of his own players, and he's going to go into the end zone for a Norton Panther touchdown. What a run!
31-yard run, and that was all underation. You talk about everything going wrong, but going right for the Panthers. It was a rollout, supposed to be a pass. The coverage was there. He decided to take the ball downfield, somehow managed to cut right back into the middle of like the whole Wadsworth team, bounced around like a pinball in a pinball game, and managed to come out of there and score on the right side of the end zone. That was a fairly amazing run.
Kicking the extra point for Norton is number 15, who is not on my roster, Larry, so don't know who he is.
Well, I heard that Norton dressed a lot of freshmen for this game. I don't know if perhaps that's a freshman kicker, or the ball just barely trickled over the goalpost, but it was good. And like you say, there is no number 15 on our roster.
Yeah, we were told before the game.
Sales going up to the end of the third quarter. Also tonight's lucky program winner, Tim Ryan.
We were told before the game, Larry, that they were going to dress some freshmen to make it look more like a team. On our roster, there's only 37 listed.
Well, one of the problems they have with the freshman team is there were a lot of injuries, and they've canceled the rest of their freshman season, and they've taken their promising freshman ball players and moved them up to JV and varsity. So that's why you see the freshmen dressing tonight. But like you said before, it's the same old story for Wadsworth. They just can't get on the board first. So Wadsworth will receive this kickoff, and back to Wadsworth. I see Tricome, and who else is back there? It's one of the up men. 34-yard kick, about a 12-yard return, and there's a penalty on the play. I don't know if they're going to call a face mask on that, because that's the way the flag came in. See what the referee says.
I think that was Dan Painter, number 80, the junior backup receiver that was back.
But the kick was taken by one of the up men. Let's see what the referees call. The Norton players are saying it's an illegal block against Wadsworth, and the Wadsworth team is moving back, so I guess that's correct. So for the second time in a row, Wadsworth starts in a big hole where they did not field the punt. And now a 15-yard penalty moves the ball back to the 20-yard line. It's an illegal block, a clip on Wadsworth, and they'll start 1st and 10 on the 21-yard line. So they're not doing themselves any favors here in the early going of this game.
Norton, of course, having the huge win last week
over undefeated Talmadge. That was really an upset. I would call it a huge upset, but it was quite an upset.
So Norton showing some improvement, picking up right where they left off here early in the ball game.
Well, I'll tell you what's dangerous about a team like Norton. When you start out 0-4, and then you have a big win, they've got nothing to lose. I mean, they're not going to win any conference championships. They're not going to the playoffs, so they can just pull out all the stops and come with whatever they want. And when you put that in context with the rivalry that Norton and Wadsworth have had over the years, this is what makes this team so dangerous. And I think it would behoove Wadsworth to start moving the ball right now and not give Norton any more confidence they already have.
Second down and 6, 5.5 minutes left in the first. Hoover straight drop back. Slant pattern run by Ben Vujas, caught at the 40, down at the 41.
It's going to be a 15-yard pickup. That was the same play the interception was thrown on, but that time Hoover put the ball right in there low, or if it wasn't going to be caught, couldn't be intercepted. So it's a 1st and 10 Wadsworth on the 41-yard line. And so far, Mike Hoover shows no effect of that stinger at all. It looks pretty good out there.
Hoover looking to throw again. He's in trouble, keeps it himself, and down to behind the line of scrimmage a yard or two. It'll be second down. And Wadsworth doesn't do it all through the air, Larry, as a lot of people would think. They're averaging about 150 yards per game on the ground and 5 yards per running play. And Norton is allowing 24 points a game.
Well, one thing about Mike Hoover, I think he's more effective when he rolls out. When he drops straight back, they seem to be able to get pressure on him, but when he rolls, that's when he can get loose to throw the ball. He's such a good athlete.
Tony Moeller gains a couple of yards on that running play. It'll be 3rd and long.
So he brings the ball back to where they're spotting the ball. It's going to be 3rd and 10 for Wadsworth on the 42-yard line. So we'll see what the coaches pull out of their hat on this one. You'd have to reckon that they're going to throw the ball. Chris Brink goes in motion, lines up the other tight end now.
Hoover dropping straight back, finds Brink, caught, first down, tackled at the 45 of Norton.
That was a 14-yard pickup, a nice catch by Chris Brink, and looks like the Wadsworth passing game is back in sync again.
Against Green, Chris Brink caught 6 passes, 3 of them for touchdowns, and prior to tonight's game, he's caught 21 balls, averaging 23 yards a catch, and he has 9 touchdowns.
That 23 yards a catch is just boggling. I mean, that's the kind of numbers you look at out of a great wide receiver, and here it's coming out of a tight end.
And he has 2 or more TD receptions in 4 of the 5 previous games. That ball run about 8 yards.
Joe Tricome on the carry. So it's going to bring up a second down and maybe 2 yards to go for the Grizzlies. You know, you were talking about the running game. I think Wadsworth this year has the passing team, of course, that the passing sets up the running game. So you're right. They've got a pretty good balance offense. You look at Mike Hoover, you see those numbers, which are like pro stat numbers on him. But you can't take away from the fact that Wadsworth has the running game, and they use it when they have to.
Well, you know, it's nothing like they had last year with David Lance and Dan Marino, 2 great backs, but they have the better passing game this year, so they don't need it. That pass intended for Ben Osterland over his head, incomplete.
Thrown behind him. But another thing, I think last year, the offensive line was opening up a little better holes in that area. And don't forget, too, that they lost Matt Poor, who was there. Basically outside running back or tailback or what have you, and he's out for the season, of course. So that hurt their running game a bit.
And Matt was averaging about 8 yards a carry before he went down. Joe Tricome tackled, did not get the first down. Not really in field goal range here.
So this is going to be an interesting call. It's going to be 4th down and 2 on the 37-yard line. See what the Wadsworth coaches call. They're going to go for it, obviously. 2 on for a field goal. You're not going to punt. But the interesting thing is, are you going to throw or are you going to try to run? I would imagine that Hoover would throw the ball on this, roll out to the right. That would be my guess. No?
Pitch to Joe Tricome, gets the first down.
He tripped over his own man.
Yes, he did.
45 Tony Moeller was throwing a block.
And he blocked Tricome over the first down marker.
Well, it was a good block. He took the player out of there, but watch, when Tricome tries to vault over him, it just doesn't happen. So you got to give Moeller credit for a great block and also a great tackle on that play. But whatever, Wadsworth has the ball 1st and 10 on the 33-yard line. Very quick first half, as you might imagine, with these two teams. We're down to almost 2 minutes to play. I mean, first quarter. 2 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Hoover's got the ball, and he sacked and fumbles it, and it's recovered by the Norton Panthers. Just as the Grizzlies were threatening to take or tie the ball game up, Mike Hoover was under pressure and lost a handle on the ball, recovered by the Panthers.
One thing that's helped Wadsworth this year is lack of mistakes, but in this first quarter, I think they've had as many turnovers as they have the whole rest of the year. And you don't want to give Norton this kind of feeling. You don't want to get them pumped up like this anymore. So I think the Wadsworth defense had better shut Norton down right now. If they don't, what should have been a fairly easy game for the Grizzlies is going to turn into quite a tussle if they don't stop right here. There's a penalty flag, and I don't know if they're going to call delay a game or a Wadsworth player lined up in the neutral zone, and they're going to call offside Wadsworth. One of the linemen are lined up in the neutral zone offside, so that doesn't help either. Another mistake, and as we said before, when you have a running team like Norton, you got to make them go the whole 10 yards. You can't just give them 5 right off the bat. So it's going to be a 1st and 5 Norton on the 46-yard line.
Underation flips it, it's lost, and Matt Delnos or
Wadsworth recovered.
Yes.
Delnos tried to pick the ball up and run with it, but when he did, he just kind of booted the ball forward.
Jake McElvain,
very alertly came up from the safety position to catch it. It's a tough call for a linebacker. Right? There's Delnos. He sees the ball bouncing around the ground. He knows if he picks it up, he's probably got a touchdown, but yet you risk not recovering the ball. It was a bad pitch, and Turchin just couldn't handle the ball. So let's see if Wadsworth can strike now on this turnover.
Wadsworth offense quickly on the field. Hoover now rolling to his right, finds Chris Brink.
I think he got a first down, depending on where they...
Little short, I think.
And remember what I said before, that Hoover's so much more effective when he rolls out and rolls away from the pressure, and that's what he did that time, and Brink was wide open. They mark him out of bounds upfield further than I thought. It's only a 7-yard pickup. I thought he had got maybe 10 or 12.
You were talking about the turnovers prior to Hoover's interception and fumble. The first 5 games, Wadsworth had 6 turnovers.
Yep.
2nd and 3. Hoover sacked. Sacked by number 55, Pat Williams, a key player for the Norton Panthers. He's a linebacker.
That's a quarterback draw. I don't think that he ever, well, maybe not. But the strength of the Norton defense is the inside linebackers. Harmon and Williams do a good job, and there we have that example of that again. If Wadsworth's going to have any success, they're going to have to stay away from the middle. They're going to have to run wide, they're going to have to pitch wide, or they're going to have to roll wide, because those linebackers, they're going to be blitzing on virtually every play. You've always got a linebacker in the Wadsworth backfield. 1
minute, 10 seconds left, first period. Hoover looking over the middle, jumped up, caught by Adam Copeland, and he's going to dive just shy of the goal line. He avoided a couple tackles and got it inside the 5.
A 29-yard pass play. You watch Hoover go back, there's a little bit of pressure on him, and actually Copeland was covered fairly well, but Copeland's so tall, he just went up and got the ball away from the shorter defenders, and then it's just good, strong running as he almost makes it into the end zone. Good play by Adam Copeland. Good catch and good run after he caught the ball. 1st and goal on the 3. Handoff to Joe Tricome. Touchdown, Grizzlies. 3-yard run for Tricome.
2nd rushing touchdown of the year for Joe Tricome.
So Galpert will now try the extra point, and he's like something like 21 out of 22. He's only missed 1 all year. And it's good.
Right through the main highway. 7-7 ball game.
There's only 11 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Is that 31 or 11?
It might be 31. Yeah, there are a few lights burned out on the scoreboard. Stats so far, Jeff Hanna started at quarterback. He was 2 for 3 for 32 yards, and Hoover came in, and he's 4 for 6 for 67 yards. He did throw 1 interception. Rushing, Joe Tricome has carried the ball 6 times for 24 yards. Chris Brink has 3 catches for 51. Copeland 1 for 24. Vujis 1 for 24, and Osland 1 for 4. Wadsworth has had 4 first downs, 3 passing, and 1 rushing. They've been penalized twice, and they're fairly big penalties for 20 yards. So that's where things stand almost at the end of the first quarter here. 2 turnovers for Wadsworth, the 1 interception and the fumble. And they recovered the 1 fumble, so they're 1 down in the giveaway, turn away, take away, giveaway,
thingy.
You take it, I take it ratio, yeah.
Head coach Terry Sample in his 2nd year with the Panthers, and it's been a tough couple of years for him.
Well,
he took over a team with no returning starters last year. They were 1-9 overall, 1-6 in the Suburban League.
In the year before that, Norton won the Suburban and went to the playoffs. That's when they graduated everybody on the team, so.
And Norton's going to let it roll out of bounds, unofficially delay a game.
And so Norton will take over on the 35-yard line.
Norton has about maybe 10 or 12 returners this season, I think.
And like I say, you look at them, and you look at them compared to the Wadsworth players, they're physically so small that you would think that Wadsworth would be able to push them all over the field. In the first quarter, it hasn't happened. Of course, the 2 turnovers didn't help either. So Norton takes over 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line. I don't know how much time's left. There's a 1, and then there's some other digit, which I think is in Sanskrit. But we'll keep an eye on the clock for you. Wadsworth defense, again, cramming up into the box, looking for the run.
Kevin Johnson, the end. That was Lance Harmon with a hard run out to the 43.
And that is the type of running that you associate with Norton, that right up the middle, north-south type of running. That was a nice pickup. He gained 8 yards on the play before Wadsworth managed to stop.
I wanted to say Kevin Johnson, the tight end, in a weird formation there. He was kind of slanted in.
They do that a lot. They have the 2 tight ends, and then they'll have one of their backs just kind of go over almost in an H-back formation and stand at a 45-degree angle facing the center. I've never seen a lineup like that before.
Quick handoff again to Harmon in the pile, gains maybe a yard or 2.
Well, if he made the first down, that was all Harmon, because the Wadsworth defensive line just stood Norton straight up. And Harmon just plowed forward to see what he could get, and depends on the spot.
Well, they put 12 minutes on the clock, so that must be the end of the first quarter with the games knotted up at 7 apiece.
Well, while we got some time, let's take a look and see what Wadsworth opponents are doing. And I'll tell you, this could be the week that Wadsworth really makes it big in the playoffs, because all the teams they've beaten have a chance of winning. Barberton is playing Kent Roosevelt. Now, Barberton has only won 1 game against these Norton Panthers, but they're favored to beat Kent Roosevelt, who's also 1-4. Cuyahoga Falls is at winless Hudson. That would be a big one if the Falls could win there. We'd pick up some computer points. Medina is at Berea. Now, Berea is tough, but Medina's tough also, so they've got a shot there. In the league, I'll tell you, John, if I wasn't here tonight, I'd be up at Copley, where Copley is playing Revere. And Copley's favored in that, but do a little commercial first.
Kovac Realtors, 157 Great Oaks Trail, 336-8883. If you have any real estate needs, head on over and see them.
Well, back to that Copley-Revere game. If Revere doesn't win, their season's over. I mean, they're 3-2. They've lost 1 in the Suburban. They can't go 2 down. As far as the playoffs are concerned, they're 6th or 7th in the region, and they can't afford to lose any more games if they want to go to the playoffs. So, like I say, Revere, Copley, the winner goes on, but if Revere loses, that is pretty much their season. When we get a chance, we'll give you the rest of what's going on in the Suburban League, and also the Shelby Whippets. There's that stand-up formation again by the back.
Ball on the 45 of Norton.
That was a first down, by the way.
Hand off to Harmon. He's twisted around, shy of midfield.
Back to the Suburban League. Green is playing at Highland, and you would expect Green to win that one fairly handily. Highland's only won 1 game. And Cloverleaf and Talmadge. Talmadge, I don't know if their Cinderella bubble has burst last week when they played Norton or not, but I think Cloverleaf's about due to win a game or 2.
Well, they're an awful good 1-4.
They're awful good 1-4 Division II team. So even though Talmadge you might think would be favored at 4-1, I wouldn't be too awful surprised if Cloverleaf had managed to come up and win that one. And of course, we've got this game here. Wadsworth 5-0, Norton 1-4.
Second down and 7. Pitch to Turchin, the freshman, gets it to about midfield. Be about 3rd and 5.
And now what you've all been waiting for, of course, is how did the Shelby Whippets do last week? In their homecoming game, they came up real big against Norwalk and won 28-6. Believe it or not, the Shelby Whippets are ranked 3rd in their region, so it looks like they're on their way to the playoffs too. They play a tough Bucyrus team at Bucyrus tonight, so keep your eye on the Shelby Whippets, and perhaps we can even follow them into the playoffs.
And speaking of the playoff positions, in Region 6 for Division 2, the Wadsworth Grizzlies were bumped down to 2nd from 1st behind Piqua. And they're, as Harmon rumbles across the 35 to about the 32 for a big gain for the Panthers, the Grizzlies are only about 2/10 of a point behind Piqua in the computer rankings.
That was a 17-yard run, and Jeff Hanna made a nice touchdown-saving tackle. You know, you talk about Region 6. If you people at home want to do something, get a map out and take a look at the teams who Wadsworth might play if they make the playoffs. Figure out on your map where Piqua is, then look for Whitehorse Anthony Wayne, look for Sylvania Southview, look for Marysville. I mean, these schools are like a 2.5 to 3 hour drive away from here. So we hope that Wadsworth finishes in the top 4 and gets a home field
advantage.
They
will play the first game at home, yes.
If they're in the top 4.
Right. 1st and 10 Norton, underation, going back. Now he throws it up in the air, and
good defensive play by
Jake McIlvain got there and pushed the receiver out of bounds right as he tried to catch the ball.
But I'll tell you another thing, if you watch the replay, Delnos is so tall compared to underation that he had to lob the ball over Delnos and didn't get the steam on it that he could have, and that's what gave McIlvain time to get over for the coverage. So good play by McIlvain, also good play by Delnos, and that brings up the 2nd down and 10 on the 32-yard line.
Another point about the state rankings. Of course, the poll has nothing to do with the playoffs, but I know the coach and players from Wadsworth are a little disappointed they haven't got any respect from the poll. The state poll, you look at the poll, they're nowhere to be found. As Norton runs the ball, gains a couple of yards, they only list the top 15 to 20 teams in each division, and Wadsworth's nowhere to be found.
You know, you might be able to make an argument that Wadsworth isn't the best team in the state, but how you could not count them in the top 20 in Division 2 when they've got like the 2nd or 3rd most playoff points is
in their region.
Yeah, is kind of beyond, not in the region, in all of Division 2.
Yeah.
And how you can ignore them is kind of beyond me, but well, it's one of those deals that if Wadsworth's going to get any respect, they're going to have to go out there and earn it. It's not going to be given to them. So they could go a long way tonight, get some playoff points, and maybe get a little more respect.
Underation keeping it, and he's tackled by Ian Formaz.
Chris Brink was in on the tackle, too. I'm not sure that was ever a pass play. I think it was almost like a quarterback sweep because he wasn't looking downfield, tucked it in real quick. So that's going to bring up the 4th down for Norton on the 24-yard line. We've heard they don't have a kicker, and they're certainly not going to punt. So this is going to be a big play for Norton, and of course for Wadsworth also. A 4th down and 2 on the 24-yard line.
I think we know they don't have a kicker. Their kicker that came out and kicked the extra point isn't even on the roster. Underation, handoff to Harmon. No. He does not get the 1st down. Matt Delnos wrapped him up and brought him down.
That was a big hit by Delnos. Wadsworth knew it was going to be a run. They had stacked everybody in the box, and Delnos just kind of slid down the line of scrimmage, found the running back, and made a nice tackle. So Wadsworth will take over with 8 minutes and some kind of 9 seconds left on the clock, and see if they can get back on track here and get up on this Norton team. And don't let them hang around too long. That's not what you want to do. Mike Hoover is in a quarterback. Looks like he'll play the rest of the game or until it might get out of hand.
Hoover, nice handoff to Joe Tricome around left end, has plenty of running room, down the sideline, cross midfield, pushed out of bounds at the 45 of Norton.
That might be Tricommi's longest run this year. Usually, he doesn't have the speed to get outside that like that, but that time he did, and that was a pickup of about 27 yards on the play. Nice run by Joe Tricommi. So, Wadsworth keeps doing that. They're not going to need the passes. 1st and 10 Wadsworth on the 47, let's say, of Norton.
2 receivers at the bottom of the screen. Hoover looking that way, airs it out all the way downfield, wide open Ben Vujas just out of his reach.
Vujas was open. He was a couple steps behind the receiver, but Hoover just put a little bit too much air under the ball.
Well, Larry, we're playing for the Victory Bell tonight.
Yeah,
it's over on the Wadsworth sideline behind the cheerleaders. Of course, Wadsworth winning the bell back last season, winning 30-13, and you know more after this play.
Yeah, the bell came off the old Wadsworth High School, right? And they started playing for the Victory Bell a number of years ago.
Again, Joe Tricommi, just shy of a first down for Wadsworth. The Victory Bell, I stopped in Wadsworth Athletic Director's office, Lance Currens, the other day. And as far back as his records went, the Victory Bell started in 1958. So this 1999 game is the 42nd year of the Victory Bell. And you want to know the records? Well, Wadsworth has won 25 of the meetings and Norton 16.
I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second.
Joe Tricommi again gets the first down. One man to beat, and he's tackled by Lewis Ewell at the 25 of the Panthers. A couple of great runs by the senior Joe Tricommi.
The reason it started at 58 is that's when they built the current Wadsworth High School, and the bell came out of the old Wadsworth High School, which is Central Middle School. And at that time, Wadsworth and Norton were both about the same size communities, of about 8,000 people. But what's happened in the meantime is Wadsworth has grown and expanded. Norton is basically surrounded by other towns. So as Wadsworth has gotten larger and larger and larger and moved up into Division II, Norton hasn't. And that accounts for why Wadsworth has won more of the Victory Bell than Norton did, because Wadsworth's victories have been in recent years.
Larry, before you go here, I wanted to correct myself. I said senior Joe Tricommi. He's only a junior. Sorry.
Well, junior Joe Tricommi or senior, whichever one it is, has 7 carries for 73 yards. So he's having, I think, probably his finest night as a Wadsworth Grizzly. Norton, call timeout on that. It's going to be a 1st and 10 Wadsworth with the ball on around the 25-yard line. Back to the playoffs, as we mentioned before, the top 4 teams have the home field advantage. Right now, there are an incredible 5 teams in the Suburban League that are either would be in the playoffs today or within 1 spot of a playoff position. When you consider there's only 8 teams in the league, that's an outstanding record for the Suburban League.
Mike Hoover hands it to Joe Tricommi. Nice tackle made there by number 55, Pat Williams.
Well, those inside linebackers are tough. He gained about a yard, so that'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Back to the playoffs in the Suburban League. They can't all make it, of course, because they're playing each other and we're beating each other. But 2 that pretty much have a lock on the playoffs would be Copley and Wadsworth at this point in time. Either Green or Revere could go. But I think the winner or the loser of the Green-Revere game would probably be out of it. And Talmadge has an outside shot. They'd probably have to win the rest of the way out in order to go to the playoffs.
2nd and 9 for the Grizzlies.
Fumble.
And looks like it's recovered again by the Norton Panthers.
I don't think that was a fumble as much as Hoover never got the snap, because I was watching him. He never came out from under center. He just looked on the ground and saw the ball laying there, made a dive for it, but it squirted out of his hands, and Norton took over. So they've got as many turnovers in the first half, as many as they've had all season long.
Lance Harmon made the recovery.
Those middle linebackers are tough.
So Wadsworth tonight, here you
see he never had the ball. It just bounced off his hand, squirted forward.
Wadsworth tonight in this game has half as many turnovers as they've had the whole season prior to tonight.
You know,
Harmon, the ball carrier.
You wonder if they're not suffering a bit of a letdown. You think they've gone through the toughest part of their season. Look at the teams that they've played in the last couple of weeks as you watch this handoff. that one of the best games I've ever seen last week against Green, and the overtime against Cuyahoga Falls. They've been playing some tough teams, and now they're coming into what should be the easy part of their schedule. They might be having a bit of a psychological letdown here in the first half, but I'll guarantee you the coaches are not going to let them have a psychological letdown in the second half.
2nd and 5 for Norton. Quick handoff. Harmon running hard again. Takes it to the Norton 37.
About a 7-yard pickup to 37. Harmon is a very tough runner. When you consider that he hasn't got that much of an offensive line in front of him, the fact that he's managed to pick up anything is amazing. That is one good running back. And also when you consider he's gaining those yards with Wadsworth playing for the run on almost every down, makes it even more impressive.
5.5 minutes left, first half. Underation rolling to his right. No, he handed it off and rolled to his right. Harmon again. About a 4-yard gain on that play.
That fooled you, huh? Fooled me too. I thought Underation was rolling left off. He a little counter hand back to Harmon, and he managed to pick up 5 yards. And a funny thing here, it's like the Norton offensive line is starting to assert themselves on the field. They're picking up about 5 yards per rush.
Well, Wadsworth had trouble stopping the run against a great Green running game. Their two backs gained about 350-plus yards on the ground.
The difference there is they had that quarterback who could throw the 20-yarder when they needed it. That's not happening here.
Underation throws for a first down. Matt Mealy made the catch.
Tracomie and McElvain were in on the
Mealy,
tackle.
a sophomore.
That's the first completion tonight for the quarterback, an 8-yard gain in the first down. But what we were saying before, no, Green's not a passing team. They had a fine quarterback that could loosen the Wadsworth defense up with those throws, something Norton hasn't shown until this past tonight. 4 minutes and something 5 seconds left in the second quarter here.
That whole second or third number on the scoreboard is about completely burnt out.
That's going to be a face mask. It's going to be a face mask on Wadsworth, I'm sure. So Wadsworth makes another mistake with a 5-yard pickup, and if they call the face mask, it's going to be a 20-yard pickup. No, face mask on Wadsworth. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. When Harmon came out of that pile, it was like his gut was going forward and his head was going backward. So they're putting that on after the play, and Norton is now in a very threatening position here as they spot the ball on the 29-yard line. That's the 4th penalty for 29 yards, I believe. And the thing is, those have all been big penalties, too. And now Norton is a real threat to score here and go into the half leading. They take over 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line.
Before you speak too fast, though, the Grizzlies can score in about 40 seconds. Yeah. Underation dropping way back. Looking, needs help. Formaz chasing him down. Delno's chasing him down. He's going to throw it away out of bounds. Smart job there by Underation getting rid of the ball.
Well, you talk about a deep drop. It would have taken about a 20-yard completion to get it back to the line of scrimmage, but when he looked downfield, everything was covered, and he just threw the ball away. You watch how far deep he is. There seems to be a receiver open on the right, but this time he's running for his life as number 77, Ian Formaz, is chasing him. That ball's just thrown out of bounds. So it brings up a 2nd and 10 for Norton. Still on the 28-yard line.
Formaz listed 6'2", 257. That's an Underation 5'9", 160.
So we're talking about a 7-inch
running for his life.
Yes.
Like you said.
Yeah.
Quick handoff. Harmon squirts through, fumbles the ball. Jeff Hanna was there. We'll see.
The Panthers have recovered.
At the bottom of the pile is a Panther player. Here you go.
Wadsworth had a shot at recovering this ball. There's the hit right there. The ball comes out.
Jake McElvain stripping it.
And you could see 11. Jeff Hanna almost had the ball. But they didn't. And the frustrating thing is not only they recover the fumble, but they also pick up 5 yards on the play. So it brings up a 3rd and 5 with 3 minutes, 6 seconds to play. And you know that Norton is going to make this 4-down territory. They're going to go for it twice here.
Underation now rolling to his left. Bad pass, but it's caught by Harmon. He's tackled by Jake Wilhite.
10-yard catch. Watch, this is almost a shot put rather than a pass. But the thing was, Harmon came out so clean he didn't have to throw the ball well. So now Norton is down on the 14-yard line with 3:16 to go in the first half, and there's a real threat here to score.
Kevin Johnson, the only receiver for Norton.
Nice hole.
Harmon, the ball carrier again, to about the 9-10 yard line.
So he picked up 5 on the play. It's going to bring up 2nd and 5 on the 10-yard line. You can't see it there. The big hole at the line of scrimmage, and that was one of the first times that the Norton line did a good job of moving Wadsworth off the ball.
Matt Delnos making a nice tackle there.
4-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 6 yards to go.
Wadsworth defense stacking the line. Harmon again gets it. Scampers back through the middle of the line, takes it to the 5.
Very close to a first down, but I think he's going to be about a yard short. And that's nothing but tough running on Harmon's part. Watch this. There isn't anything where he was supposed to go. He just lowers his head and plows through the line. And Wilhite, I think that was Wilhite. Greg Dent was the one that made the tackle on the play that stopped the first down. A minute 52, I believe, in the first half. So Norton has plenty of time to score, and they're going to take as much time off the clock as they can because they don't want to give that Wadsworth high-powered offense a chance to score. 3rd and 1.
Underation again to Harmon, but he's met right at the line of scrimmage.
That was Matt Delnos, I think, down the bottom of the pile.
Just
but he
wrapped
might
his
have
arms
fallen
around his
forward.
Timeout.
I think he fell forward for the first down. Well, it was only 3rd down, so they would have had another shot at it in any event. But where they spot them, Delnos did a good job. He hit him behind the line of scrimmage, but Harmon just pulled his way and leaned forward to maybe to get the first down. The referees are calling for a measurement. And the clock is stopped with, I think, 1 minute and 27 seconds left to play in the half. There's Spot. Puts the chain down. First down by about half the length of the ball. So Wadsworth has got to stop Norton 4 times in here, or they're going to go in 7 points down. That's the 6th first down for Norton.
Well, just inside the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, Panthers.
So let's see if the Wadsworth defense can stiffen up here and stop this 2nd score.
Clock running. 1 minute, 20 seconds left in the first half. Play action. Underation keeps it himself. Has all kinds of room. He's going to run into the end zone. Touchdown, Norton Panthers.
That was a case where he should have been tackled in the backfield, but the tackle just was missed, and once the missed tackle was made because everybody had committed, that hole outside was open, and he just walked into the end zone. So you got to say this is quite a surprise, to put it mildly. Norton's up at least 13-0 here with 1 minute 12 to go in the second half.
13-7.
I'm sorry, 13-7. Try for the extra point.
Here's the kicker. It's good. 14-7. I'll visit the scorers table, Larry. I'm going to find out that kicker's name.
Quarterback Underation is free for 3 rushes for 41 yards and 2 touchdowns, but 2 of those 3 rushes were not designed to be rushes. He made something out where something wasn't there. On both of those touchdowns, he should have been stopped, but wasn't, and then with some really great running, managed to get the ball into the end zone. So I would have to say the Wadsworth offense is going to have to try to do something here at the minute 12 to go. Now, you know that they can score in that amount of time. They've had 1 minute scoring drives before, So see what they can do. And it would help if they had a good run back. Wadsworth is sending Tricome back, and once again back to receive the kickoff, number 80, Dan Painter. And this is only the second time this year. Well, the other time was in this game that I've seen him back running kickoff back.
Well, I found out the deal with the kicker, Larry. Number 40, Nick Silverstein, is doing the kickoff duties. End over end kick.
Tricome.
Joe Tricome behind the wedge. Takes it out to about the 37.
It was a 38-yard kick, by the way.
Number 15, kicking the extra points for Norton, is junior Sean Kletzer. And I guess the story is he's quite a good golfer, and he's coming fresh off the golf team and didn't want to play football till the golf season was over.
Interesting. That was a 15-yard return. So Wadsworth takes over with about 1 minute and 5 seconds to play, I think. And let's see what they do here. No surprise, Hoover pass.
Downfield, Adam Copeland, just off the end of his fingertips. A catch he might have been able to make.
That was a nice throw by Hoover. He didn't roll out, dropped straight back. There wasn't any pressure that time. So now there's 58 seconds left to go in the first half. That would have been a big reception.
Look for the Grizzlies to try and throw it 3 more times.
I think 2 times in punt. But I think they'll pick up a 1st and 10. If nothing else, Norton is going to be playing so far off the ball that the first down is probably there for Wadsworth to take. They're just guarding deep.
Hoover keeping it himself. Lots of running room. Midfield to the 45. And he's sandwiched there. And Hoover's calling a timeout to stop the clock for the Grizzlies and set up a couple more plays.
I think that's Wadsworth's second timeout. Hoover was going to throw, but you can't see it on your screen. But there's a big opening. Watch downfield. A very nice block by Adam Copeland to give an extra 5 yards. Watch Copeland right there. And then Hoover elected not to go out of bounds, but rather just to move the ball downfield. So he moved it down to the 45-yard line. So Wadsworth will have a 1st and 10 with 37 seconds left to play in the half. That's one thing about these Grizzlies. They can strike quick, as they showed there. But I was watching the Wadsworth defense, and they lined up, and they were looking past, but as soon as the ball was snapped, the linebackers dropped back into coverage. So they were willing to give Wadsworth something underneath to protect deep, but I don't think they're willing to give them that much.
Grizzly Gridiron, our weekly highlight show with Coach Greg Dennison and some guest players. That will air first on this coming Tuesday night at 9 p.m. WCTV Channel 16.
Shotgun for the first time tonight.
Hoover was looking to throw to Tricome, who didn't even turn around to look for the ball.
They weren't on the same page on that play. Because Tricome was in the backfield. He released as soon as the ball was snapped, and like I say, was running downfield, and Hoover threw the ball way behind him. I don't know if that was supposed to be a quick out or he was supposed to fake it, go deep, but they weren't on the same page that play. So that brings up 2nd and 10 with 33 seconds to go.
Hoover back under center. Rolling to his left. High throw caught by Copeland, out of bounds. Clock stops.
16-yard catch by Copeland, and that was a nice catch because the ball was thrown on the wrong side of Copeland. He had to like turn around to catch the ball. Did a great job, then got out of bounds to stop the clock. So there are 36 seconds left to play in the half. And Norton now has taken a timeout. Some passing stats for you people. Hoover has thrown the ball nine times and has 4 completions for 81 yards and 5 for 10 for 81 yards and threw 1 interception. As far as the receivers are concerned, Copeland is 2 for 45, Brink is 3 for 51, Vooge is 1 for 15, and Ostra 1 for 4. As far as running is concerned, Joe Tricome has done most of the running. He's carried the ball 10 times for 74 yards and has Wadsworth 1 TV. Hoover scrambled for 14 yards, and that's about it as far as the running game is concerned. Wadsworth has had 6 first downs, 3 rushing, 3 passing. Big stat, they've been penalized 4 times for 40 yards. They are critical penalties. and they've turned the ball over, what, 3 times?
So he said Hoover 5 of 10. First completion of the second quarter, I was told that last catch by Copeland. So Hoover staying right at around 50% on the season with completions, and he has 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. Hoover slips, regains his step. Quick pass to Copeland inside the red zone. Grizzlies going to have to call timeout again.
And I think that should be Wadsworth's final timeout. They stopped the ball with 26 seconds to go, and the ball is on the 17-yard line. One of the problems on that play is the wide receiver on the other side, I think it was Vu, just fell down. And when he fell down, for some reason, he was rolling around, couldn't get back up, and that kind of limited the options that Mike Hoover had to throw the ball downfield, but he did find Copeland.
Nice crowd on hand here again tonight for a Suburban League game. Wadsworth side is packed. Norton side is packed. People standing around the fence, couple 3 people deep.
Well, this isn't a large stadium, but there certainly is a nice turnout here, that's for sure.
And another nice,
beautiful evening, yeah.
Yes, for high school football, we've been rather lucky.
Evening for anything but like curling or something like that. You got to give
swimming.
you got to give the Norton fans credit for coming out to watch this 1-4 team.
Hoover rolling to his left, gets a couple good blocks, finds Copeland. He needs to get out of bounds, but doesn't. Spins.
I think he got out of bounds on about the 4-yard line. It's kind of hard to tell over there.
Would have been wise for Adam to go out of bounds there. He had plenty of room, but he cut back in the
Watch
field.
what happens here, okay? The ball goes to Copeland. I think he feels he can fake out the defensive back by like a spin move right here, and he does, and manages to get it down close. And they called a timeout. I didn't think Wadsworth had a timeout left, but I guess they did.
That must have been an official's timeout there right at the beginning of the ball game.
At the beginning of the game, I thought at the end of the first play that Wadsworth called a timeout, but evidently that was an official's timeout. So that wasn't a bad play on Copeland's part. After all, he knew more than we did. He knew that they had the timeout left.
Sorry, Adam, I was wrong.
Yep.
First and goal on the 4-yard line for the Wadsworth Grizzlies. 17 seconds left first half.
Well, for Wadsworth, 17 seconds is probably 4 shots at the end zone when they're down this tight. So
look for him to run the ball here.
First and goal, ball on the 4-yard line of the Panthers.
Hoover rolling to his right, finds Copeland, touchdown Grizzlies.
Beautiful.
Adam Copeland in the corner of the end zone makes his 10th touchdown completion of the season. And I don't know why I said they were going to run. The clock would run out if they didn't make it.
So he rolled right, and Copeland came open very nicely, faked inside, cut to the outside. That was almost like a long handoff. And that's the trouble, you know, when you score on Wadsworth and give them 36 seconds on the clock, they're going to march down the field and score on you.
Sam Wadsworth, Norton players, I'm sorry, jumped there. We'll see.
It's too bad that's almost a non-penalty, because unless they assess it on the kickoff, half the distance isn't anything. Joe Tricome, some stats for you here. I mean, Mike Hoover, 8 for 13, 110 yards, and that was his first touchdown pass.
He's got 22 now on the season. 22 touchdowns in 5.5 games.
That's very impressive.
And he has thrown at least 4 touchdowns in all 5 games before tonight.
Oh, he's got some time yet.
Galpert's extra point, wobbly but good. Tie ball game with 11 seconds left. Looks like we'll go into the locker rooms tied at 14.
Well, we give Galpert a lot of credit, and deservedly so.
Jeff Hanna, though.
Jeff Hanna on the snapper. That whole thing has to click together. And I've watched Hanna, and some of the balls that he's put down have been amazing. They're offline, off center, not really bad snaps, but he does a great job of getting the ball down for Galpert to get the kick up. So Wadsworth will kick off with 11 seconds to go. I imagine they're just going to squib the ball down the center of the field.
I think Matt Delnos is the snapper on those kicks, so we'll give him credit too, if it is him. If not, sorry.
We'll find out. But Matt and Jeff and Galpert, they just do a great job as a team doing what they have to do to get those extra points. as evidenced by the fact they've only missed one all year.
Look for Galpert to kick one of those squibbers on the ground here with 11 seconds to go.
Yeah, I would imagine so. You don't want that going deep. In fact, well, maybe it's because Wadsworth and the Hubbell and Norton players are acting almost like it's going to be an onside kick. Now they spread out a bit.
No, the Wadsworth players were just huddling up on one side of the ball.
So, watch for the squib kick down the middle.
The backs, Harmon and Turchin back to receive.
And there it is.
Pops up, Turchin gets it. And he's tackled at the 25. 7 seconds left. Norton's going to get off one play, probably.
If you wonder why they can get off a play, the clock doesn't start until the person touches the ball. It's not when it's kicked. And then there's an automatic timeout while they move the chains. But now they start winding up the clock again. So that's why, even though a lot of time expired, only 4 seconds went off the clock. So this will be probably the last play of the quarter. I can't imagine that they would throw a pass on this. And in fact, they're in a formation like take a step, kneel down.
Underation takes it, does kneel down. That'll be the end of the first half.
The score tied 14.
Yes, and next week we will be back in Wadsworth for Wadsworth's homecoming game versus the Talmadge Blue Devils. I believe we have a promotion for the homecoming parade and other festivities. We will roll that tape here for you at halftime, and you can learn about the whens and wheres and whats of the Wadsworth homecoming parade. So with the ball game tied at 14, we'll be back with stats after you watch the promotion for homecoming and the Wadsworth Marching Band.
Wilcox, Steve Brown, drum makers Amy Waters and Laura Wire, and thank you, a marching Grizzly Band.
Hi again, everybody. This is John Bernard, voice of the Wadsworth Grizzlies, and I have two special guests in studio with me today. Emily Lyle, Student Council President, and Jake McIlvain, the Senior Class President. And we're here today to promote the homecoming festivities for Wadsworth High School. Let's start with you, Jake. When is the homecoming parade this year?
The homecoming parade will be on Friday, October 8th.
Okay, and Emily, where is the parade route starting and ending?
It begins in the little parking lot of the Wadsworth United Methodist Church, and it ends at the stadium on Grandview.
So around the parking lot around the back of the church there, that would be right across from Highland Avenue?
Right.
Okay. And what time does the parade start?
It starts at 6:45.
And how long do they plan on it taking?
It usually takes about 15 minutes to get down to Grandview and the stadium and everything.
Yeah, this hasn't been promoted too much in the past, and I think it's something that the community would like to take part of. A lot of people never knew about it, so wasn't much of a turnout, so we hope this will help you guys out. What can we look forward to seeing in the parade?
The parade starts out with the Wadsworth High School Marching Band, and then every class has an individual float that's decorated by them, completely occupied by them, and the Wadsworth cheerleaders are also on the floats cheering on. And then the senior homecoming corps is follows in Corvettes and convertibles, whoever type.
Anything else, Emily?
No.
That covers it, okay. Do you know what any of the themes are going to be for the floats?
In the past, they've done everything from Stars of the Future to Corral Colts. But to tell you the truth, it's always sort of a secret thing, you know, there's no competition, but it always is sort of which class can come up with the coolest or the most unusual theme. This year, I know we're doing a tailgating, just Wadsworth spirit, and we're focusing more on just having a good time on the float rather than, building a real fancy, elaborate float. But the juniors, I believe, are doing a big Mardi Gras theme with a lot of decorations. Okay,
we know the big football game against Talmadge will be taking place that evening at 7:30 at Outright Stadium, and of course the homecoming court will come out and be introduced on the field. What other homecoming festivities are going to take place?
Thursday the 7th, we have a bonfire. It starts at 8 o'clock. Then the game is on 7:30 on Friday, and then the dance starts at 8 o'clock on the Saturday.
Well, sounds like it'll be a great time for everybody, and we wish you guys luck with it. And we hope the community will come out and support Wadsworth High School spirit. So for Jake, the Senior Class President, and Emily, Student Council President, I'm John Bernard. Hope to see you there. So long, everybody. Back here at Cyberling Stadium, score tied at 14. Start of the second half. Larry Varner has first half statistics.
Okay, first of all for Wadsworth, Mike Hoover 8 for 13, 110 yards and 1 touchdown. Hanna was 2 for 3 as he started the quarterback with 32 yards. Big rusher for Wadsworth, Joe Tracomie, 10 carries, 74 yards. As far as receiving was concerned, we have Brink 3 for 51, Copeland 5 for 71 and 1 TD, Osman 1 for 4, and Vujis 1 for 4. Wadsworth has 4 penalties for 40 yards and 3 turnovers, and that really was the story of the first half. As far as Norton was concerned, mostly rushing. Underation had 2 rushes, but 2 TDs, both of them on scrambles. Harmon up the middle, 14 for 69 yards. The Norton rushing game has been working well.
Galpert's kick was fielded by Tyler Urchin, knocked out of bounds.
About a 12-yard return on that kick. And I'll tell you the story of the first half as I saw it was a very opportunistic but undergunned Norton team taking advantage of Wadsworth turnovers. The 3 turnovers really hurt, and the 2 touchdowns that were scored really were scored on scrambles by Onderingen when he didn't have anything, should have been tackled, but managed to get the ball into the end zone. So let's see if Wadsworth comes out a little more fired up here in the second half, because they don't want to let this thing go any further than this, because Norton's going to start believing in themselves if they do.
Quick handoff to Harmon, and he gets nowhere. Momentum is stopped. Whistle blows.
There were 7 Grizzlies on that tackle, and I think what they're going to do is just cram that box and say, we're not going to let you run the middle up anymore. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to go wide. You're going to have to throw the ball. We don't think you could do that. So no gain on the first play. That's a good start for the Grizzlies in the second half.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10 for Kansas.
The Wadsworth defense has done a nice job this season, stacking the line, stopping the run when need be. Turchin again stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's one thing that Wadsworth did is they stopped Turchin dead in his tracks in the first half. He had 4 carries for only 2 yards. So the freshman who came up so big against Talmadge has not done much tonight. So it's the second play in a row, no gain on the play. And I think the defense has come out with a little bit different attitude this half, because they were, quite frankly, both sides of the ball. Wadsworth was very flat in the first half. I've never seen them look like that in the entire season. They picked it up the last 40, 45 seconds, but that was it.
3rd and 10. Underation rolling to his left, thrown out of bounds and incomplete. Norton will kick away.
Well, Vujis and McIlvain had the receiver covered front and back, and there was quite a rush on him, and that was another case like we saw down at the other end of the field in the second quarter, where he just threw the ball away. So that's a great start for the Wadsworth Grizzlies. 3 downs, no gain, and Norton's going to be forced to punt, and with any kind of luck, Wadsworth is going to get the ball in excellent field position. In fact, the Wadsworth kick returners are standing on their own 45-yard line, and well, they should, because that's where the ball goes.
And it's kicked to about the 43. Joe Tricomi caught it and was met right away.
That was Tyler Turchin that made the tackle, and that was a very nice tackle, but it was only a 28-yard punt. Watch the punt, very low. It's fielded, but then Turchin comes right in as soon as the ball is caught and makes the hit. Right there. 28-yard kick, 2-yard return, and Wadsworth takes over 1st and 10 on the Norton 45.
That's Wadsworth 45.
Sorry about that.
Vujis in motion, goes to the same side of the field as Copeland. And Joe Tricomi runs it to the 49 of Norton. And they're going to spot it at midfield.
He got hit just as he went through the line and got knocked off balance, or he still could be running. He was just getting up ahead of steam when one of the linemen from Norton just stuck up a hand, knocked him a little bit off balance, and that's what allowed the tackle to be made. So 2nd and 5 for Wadsworth.
Pitch to Joe Tricomi, gets the first down and a couple extra.
Looks like about a 7-yard pickup, 6-yard pickup. So now they have it on the Norton 45. Okay. Actually, the 44.
Mike Hoover coming back in the ball game for the start of the second half after Jeff Hanna started at quarterback. And Hoover has now attempted a pass. What did he throw? 13 balls in the first half?
I think it was 8 for 13, yeah.
Well, he's now attempted 14, and it's a little high for Ben Vujis.
Vujis was open, but that was a tough pass. What Hoover was doing was rolling left and trying to throw right. And to get some extra steam on that ball, he jumped just as he threw it, got a little bit too much steam on it. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 10 for Wadsworth on the Norton 44.
Hoover was intercepted in the first half one time. So in 113 No, it's more than that, but Hoover had gone 99 attempts before his interception against Green. He's over 120, 25 passes with only 2 interceptions.
There was a delay to Tricomi and picked up 7 yards on the play, and I'm kind of surprised that they're trying to run the middle of that Norton line. If you remember from the first half, the strength is the inside linebackers, but Tricomi with that carry, I think, went over 100 yards for the game. Nope, he's at 92 yards, so bring up 3rd down and about 4 for Wadsworth. The ball's on the Norton 37.
Pitch again to Joe Tricomi, the left side, 1st down. A flag on the play.
That's going to be holding on Wadsworth, I think. But even with the holding call, they might have picked up the first down depending on where they spot the ball, because holding is called from the point of the foul. So let's see where the holding call's from. Another penalty, and this is something we haven't seen all year either. Wadsworth has been relatively penalty-free, and not only are they getting the penalties tonight, they're getting the penalties at times when it hurts. Now, there was a first down. The ball would have been, down on around the 25-yard line of Norton, and now it's going to come back. And I think it's going to bring up a third down and maybe 4. Well, the ref dropped the ball, so we fumble on the ref. Holding, Wadsworth.
Wadsworth takes the ball back to the Panther 37-yard line.
So now they have to do it all over again. The ball's basically the same spot it was before, 3rd and 4. But that penalty nullified a really nice gain on 1st and 10 down on the 25-yard line.
Mike Hoover gives it again to Joe Tricome. Squeezed between a couple linemen. Think he got the first down.
I think this is what Wadsworth was hoping they could do in the first quarter, come out and run the ball on Norton. They've done it fairly well so far this drive. So you see Tricome running north and south, puts his head down. Nice pickup, 1st and 10, Wadsworth on the Norton 32. And this drive is doing something else that Wadsworth hasn't done lately, taking time off the clock.
Play action to Brink, caught. And he gets a first down at about the 17-yard line.
So it's going to be a 15-yard pickup on the catch by Brink. And he caught that ball in the middle of 3 defenders, but then he's a load to bring down, and it takes 3 of the defensive backs to do the job. So Wadsworth is putting on a very impressive drive here, not unlike the one that they had at the end of the second quarter to tie the game.
4 minutes gone, 3rd quarter. Vujis in motion. 2 receivers left. Handoff Tricome, and he trips and falls at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard.
He tried to make his cut. It's like his feet just went out from under him. If you watch this, there's the handoff. Now watch as he tries to cut inside, his feet just slide, and that takes care of that. They give him a yard on the play, though, so it's going to be 2nd down and 9. Tricome now has 107 yards, so that's a fine night for him. Something they haven't tried is that quick handoff to the up back rather than handing the ball back to Tricome. Something to keep in mind for playing the Wadsworth book.
Hoover rolling, gets a block, and the catch is caught by Adam Copeland. Another Grizzly first down, 1st and goal.
Well, I think this is the 12-yard pickup, and the ball's going to be on the 5. What's some fine blocking in the backfield here? You can't see it. Tricome just buried the linebacker who was coming from that side. And there's Copeland makes the catch. And it almost looks like the one in the first half that took it down to the 5-yard line where he tried to fake out the defender and didn't get it in. But this is the Wadsworth team we've been more used to seeing this year than in the first half. Tricome fighting for yards. He didn't get in. So a gain of 4, so it'll bring up a 2nd down and 1 for Wadsworth. There goes Joe. Spins around, good spin move, and almost lost the ball. He tried to shove it out there and saying, hey, maybe I could break the plane of the goal line, but I think he saw, whoops, that's too far. Grabbed it, tucked it back in, and that was wide.
This time, Hoover gets in. There's a flag on the play.
The referees are conferring.
Hoover, the quarterback sneak, he keeps the ball.
False start on Wadsworth. Oh, well, there you go again. It's not a big penalty in the sense it's only 5 yards, but it nullifies a touchdown. Now they've had a 17-yard run nullified in this drive, a touchdown nullified. So that's going to bring up the 2nd down and 6 or 7 to go. That's a little tougher than 2nd and 1. That's 6 penalties for Wadsworth, only 55 yards, but they've been very critical penalties.
Hoover gonna roll, then look back to the left. Finds Chris Brink. Touchdown, Wadsworth.
Nice run
Chris
by
Brink was just in front of the defender, and he turned the other way, got open, made the catch.
And I'll give Hoover credit on that because there was a defender between he and Brink, and what he had to do is get the ball over the defender, but yet low enough that Brink could catch it. Of course, Brink's quite a target back there. Very nice throw by Mike Hoover, and of course a great route by Chris Brink. So Wadsworth goes up for the first time tonight, 20-14.
With the kick, it's blocked. A Norton player. Norton player jumped up and got his hand on that one and blocked it away. Only the second missed extra point.
And the first one was really a miss. That's the first block that we've seen. So the kick left Galpert's foot fairly low, and a Norton defender was just there to shove his big paw up there and block the ball. So that's got to be a psychological lift for Norton because they're only down 6 with 6:12 to go in the third quarter.
Could be a key block late in the game. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know when that's like a safety. You never know when it's going to come back and haunt you. Did you ever notice that? Like safeties turn the whole game around. It's like the whole philosophy becomes different when somebody scores a safety. The same thing here, whereas Norton would have had scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to win. Now it's just a touchdown and the extra point. So let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt the Grizzlies.
Ryan Harmon, 44. Tyler Kirkland, 22 deep for the Panthers.
So there you see your score, 20-14 in the third quarter as Galpert tees it up.
6 minutes, 12 seconds left in the third.
That's a nice thing about having 12 seconds left. You can see the one.
Yeah.
The other ones are rather cryptic. Chris Brink has 5 catches for 72 yards and a TD. Copeland 6 for 83 with a TD, and Hoover's 11 for 17, 144 yards, which actually is kind of low for him for having 11 completions, and he's thrown 2 TD passes. Nice kick by Galpert.
Harmon at the 20, skips back to the 25.
It was a 50-yard kick and a 15, 16-yard return. And I don't know who the Grizzly was on the bottom of the pile, made a nice tackle. See when they get up. Number 15 was the person that was down there. Ben Osterland made the big hit on the receiver. 22, Pat McCarthy was in on the tackle too, so Norton takes over 1st and 10 on the 17. Remember, the first series of downs was 3 and out. They didn't gain a yard, 2 rushes for no gain, and an incomplete pass. Let's see if the Grizzly defense can keep that kind of defense going.
Oh, perfect. Here we go.
Grizzly defense stacking the line, looking for the run. It is a run play, and they get nowhere.
I think they might have lost a yard on that one.
Who was that first guy in there?
And I'm watching the Wadsworth defense. They're pumped right now. They're jumping up. Yeah. And watch this. There's the handoff to
Lance Harmon.
Yeah, Lance Harmon, and the Wadsworth defense. There's, you see Jake McElvain on the play, but he wasn't on the bottom of it. So it's 2nd down and 11. And I like what I see in this half from the Wadsworth defense. They look like they came out of the second half ready to play. And look at how they're stacking that defense in the middle. Their safeties are almost playing like linebackers. Now they're dropping off a little bit.
Pitch to Harmon.
Delno's got him from behind.
There's the Wadsworth defense.
We have another automobile down at the primary school that needs to be moved. The neon.
If you watch this, there goes Harmon. Delnos managed to come in from his linebacker position, circle around, and actually hit him almost in the backfield, though Harmon managed to plow forward for a yard or 2. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and 9. And see if Wadsworth defense loosens up just a little bit this time. Like maybe they'll give 4 or 5 yards, but they don't want to give 10. And they are playing a little looser, and there's an equipment timeout.
Lance Harmon having a...
No, it looks like they're looking at his hand.
Well, we get this official's timeout. We'll remind you, Wadsworth Grizzly football on WCTV being sponsored by Kovac Realtors, located at 157 Great Oaks Trail. They will help you out with any realty needs you may have. Lance Harmon coming off the field. Something wrong with his finger or something.
Lost the contact.
Okay. That'll do it.
39 to go for the Panthers.
So that's a break for the Grizzlies. They don't have their star running back in.
3rd and 9 for Norton. Underation in trouble. Delnos was there to get a hand in his face, and the ball's thrown out of bounds.
Well,
Norton will punt.
They're not going to call intentional grounding on that, but there wasn't a receiver within 20 yards of the ball. I mean, that one was pretty obvious. Just threw it to the bench with no receivers anywhere in the area. But Wadsworth is going to take over, and once again, they're going to get the ball probably in really good field position as Tricome and Bugis are back, and they're standing inside their own 40. That's a little bit better kick.
Punt bounces at the 45. Tricome lets it roll, picks it up, and he's drilled out of bounds at the Wadsworth 40.
The 36-yard punt, 6-yard return, and there's a flag on the play, and that might be a late hit, a hit out of bounds on Norton from where that flag came in. See what the referees call.
Coming down to number 4, which goes 66 on the tackle.
Referees are sorting it out. And Ben Hoover's Mike Hoover, I'm sorry, I'm trying real hard. Honest to God, Mike, I'm really trying to make it Mike Hoover, not Ben Hoover. Personal foul against Norton. That was probably a late hit.
That'll be 15 yards.
15, and that'll put the ball back in Norton territory. So Wadsworth is going to start out with 4 minutes and some 0 seconds to go. And
at the Norton 44.
That's only the second penalty against Norton, I think, but that one was a big one.
Foul against the Panthers.
And Norton does seem to be frustrated now. You're starting to see little extracurriculars in the line play, out of bounds, like Norton's getting a little bit, what's happening here?
The pitch to Joe Tricome, again running to the left. That's been a favorite play tonight between Hoover and Joe. He gains about 5 or 6.
I think they're going to give him 7 on the play. Nothing fancy here. Wadsworth is just like shoving it to Norton now, beating him at the line of scrimmage, getting outside, picking up chunks of yardage running, and generally like exerting like a physical superiority, because Wadsworth is quite a bit bigger as a team than Norton is, and that might be starting to show here in the end of the third quarter.
A run play stopped. Joe Tricome getting nowhere on that play. One of the defensive linemen for Norton got through the line as soon as the ball was snapped.
I think that was the nose tackle, Mike Yates, that made the stop on that play. It was a very good defensive play. They actually lost 2 on the play. So it's going to be 3rd and 5 for the Grizzlies. And see if they go to the pass to try to keep this drive going rather than going to the run.
3 minutes, 15 seconds left. Hoover to Brink, reaches up, makes the catch, bounces off 2 defenders. He's heading for the end zone, and he steps out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Chris Brink made the catch, and like a fly on the wall, just flicked away the one defender, ran past another, and almost got a touchdown.
Watch this. I'm sorry you can't tackle me. No, I'm sorry you can't either. I don't think you can either. No, you can knock me out of bounds, though. That was a 33-yard catch by Chris Brink, and when he gets in that secondary, I mean, he just rumbles. He's like impossible to bring down. So 1st and goal for Wadsworth on the 7-yard line.
Joe Tricome got the pitch, got about 1-2 yards.
Brink now has 105 yards receiving. That was about a 2-yard pickup, I think, by Tricome. So they're spotting the ball on the 5-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and goal to go on the 5 with, oh, maybe 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Muller's in the game. I'm sorry, is it goal 2nd and 6?
And once again, a reminder, they haven't used that handoff to the up back yet. That might be effective in this particular situation. Hoover's rolling.
Looking in the back of the end zone, finds Chris Brink. Touchdown, Wadsworth.
Well, I'll tell you, on that play, Brink was pretty well covered. There was a defender in front of him. He was in the corner of the end zone, but Hoover laid the ball in just perfectly over the defender. Brink, tall target, caught it. And Wadsworth, of course, is going to go for the 2-point conversion because they missed the extra point.
Oh, it was blocked, yeah.
Blocked, yeah.
2:13 left, third quarter, 26-14 Wadsworth.
So that's the 3rd touchdown pass for Hoover tonight. He's right on schedule to get his 4 touchdowns per game, which he's averaging.
Hoover rolling to the right, finds drains. Copeland makes a diving catch.
Great play.
What a play by Adam Copeland. Hoover placing that in the very corner of the end zone, and Adam Copeland dove, keeping his feet inbounds for the two-point conversion.
That reminded me of a pro catch where he went up, got the ball, put his feet down, and dragged his feet as he caught the ball to make sure he stayed in bounds. That was a pro-type reception by Adam Copeland. So that puts Wadsworth up 28-14, and things are looking a little bit better for the Grizzlies right now. So the first two possessions for Norton here in the second half, I think they've gained a total of 5 yards on 6 plays and had 2 punts. Tricomie now has 120 yards rushing. We'll give you all the stats at the break between the third and fourth quarter. Galpert once again teeing up the ball.
Wadsworth with a 2-touchdown lead. The cheerleaders guarding the victory bell across the field from us.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. You look at this Wadsworth offense and you wonder why they ever go for 1 point. But then you look at Galpert and you wonder why they ever go for 2. So they've got quite a combination of weapons on extra point tries. 1 almost guaranteed, 2 most of the time.
The Grizzly students
getting a little pump.
Yes. Nice kick by Sam Galpert. Bounces at the 10. Harmon picks it up. Looks for somewhere to go, and Jeff Dietrich was there to bring him down.
It was a 53-yard kick and about a 13-yard return. And here comes the ball carrier, and there just isn't anywhere to go. Number 71 you saw on the stop there was Jeff Dietrich. Yeah. So Norton takes over, 1st and 10 on their 22. And let's see if the Wadsworth defense can stand up and stop them again.
Right here is a good place to do it.
And once again, they've got, well, 9 players stacked in the box to stop the run. Just 1 safety and 1 corner.
And Harmon trips at the line of scrimmage, tries to get around end and go forward, can't. 2nd and 10 for Norton.
You watch this Wadsworth defense, they are really pumped right now. There's the handoff to Harmon, and coming in there, 32.
That's Jake Wilhite, the outside linebacker.
Linebacker came up and made the tackle. And it looks like the Wadsworth defense right now, they're having fun.
They want to, they're smelling victory already, Larry. They want to put this one away right now.
Well, I think if they stop Norton here, a 3 and out, it's going to be a big psychological lift for Wadsworth because they've done everything right in the second half. And another big...
Harmon doesn't get anywhere again.
And as much as Norton was getting in the first half, they're getting nothing in the second half. It's just like the Wadsworth line is now just exerting physical superiority. There just isn't anything there. And, you know, you go back to the Green game. In situations like this last week with Green, they had the quarterback who could make the 20-yard, the 10-yard completion to loosen things up. But that's what Norton doesn't have. Now, Wadsworth is playing a little looser on defense, saying we'll give you 5, but we're not going to give you 10. But Norton's passing game has been non-existent tonight.
3rd and 8, under a minute to go in the third quarter. Underation keeping it himself. He's drilled out of bounds.
Matt Delnos rode him out of bounds. I'm not sure that was ever a pass. He rolled out, but I think it was just a quarterback rollout. Watch this. Gets the ball. Okay, now he's rolling, but he tucks it way too soon to be a pass play. But there was Delnos, and there was Jake Wilhite that were there to meet him. And
14 seconds to go in the third. Whistle was blowing. Someone got knocked on their backside on the Wadsworth bench.
So when play resumes, Norton is going to have a 4th and 8 on about their 27-yard line, and they're going to be forced to punt for the 3rd time in the 3rd quarter. Only 14 seconds left, and in the 3rd quarter, I think Norton has gained a grand total of maybe 7 yards. That's all.
Let's take a look at the Wadsworth Grizzlies schedule if we can. I know next week we'll be back at Artwright Stadium for homecoming versus Talmadge. There you see it. Then we will go to Highland the following week. Last 2 games of the season at home, Cloverleaf and Copley.
Some stats for you. Chris Brink has 7 catches for 110 yards and 2 TDs. Copeland 6 for 83. He has 1 TD and the 2-point extra point conversion. Mike Hoover right now is 13 for 19, 182 yards and 3 touchdowns, and that makes 24 TDs for Hoover for the year.
Still an injury timeout going on. Can't tell if it's a player, a coach, or who it is on the Wadsworth sideline.
That's all the way over on the far side of the field, and there's a bunch of people standing around. We can't see what's going on. But one thing about Wadsworth, with the exception of the Copley game, of course, they've gotten through what has to be the worst part of their schedule. And we said from the beginning, the 2 games to watch were Revere at home and Copley at home. Copley at home is going to be the last game of the season. So mark that one on your calendar, October the 29th, Copley Wadsworth, because the way things are going here, it looks like that one's going to be the one for the Suburban League Championship, and it's going to have a big determinant in what happens in the playoff situation too.
And it was the quarterback, Pete Underation, who was injured on the Wadsworth sideline. He's being helped across the field.
It looks like he can't put any weight on his right leg. Now, I don't know if it's knee, ankle, leg, or what, but he seems to be in serious pain, so that might be all for him for tonight. And you got to say, as he's coming off the field here, not putting any weight on his right leg, that Norton is in serious trouble with 14 seconds to go in the third quarter. They have to punt the ball, and if they lose their first-string quarterback, I don't know.
Boy, that's a grimacing look on his face. Doesn't look good for the Norton Panthers.
Once again, Wadsworth will get the ball in real good field position. The 3rd time in a row, we've got Vujis and Tricomie lining up on about their 45-yard line.
This is where we need our sideline reporter, Jeff Jenkins, to let us know what happened to the Norton quarterback.
Nice kick. Oh,
it went off the helmet of Ben Vujis. He was blocking, didn't even look for the ball. He thought it was going to go over his head, and it bounced off his head, and it was recovered by Norton.
So a very, very strange turnaround. Just when you think that Wadsworth is going to put this game away, it looks like they recovered that free ball. Now the Wadsworth players are saying, nope, it's our ball.
Referees.
And I think what Wadsworth is saying is the ball hit a Norton player, not a Wadsworth player.
I disagree. I saw it right off.
Well, let's see what the referees say, because ultimately that's the bottom line. And
Wadsworth gets the ball.
So evidently, they might have called a penalty interfering with the attempt to make the catch on Norton, right?
Because Vujis was one of the back men.
Yeah, but he was allowed to receive the ball, and what happened was, even though he wasn't ready to catch the ball, the Norton defender got in his face, and you can't do that
before the ball got to him. Correct.
So
pitch to Joe Tricomie to the left. Gains about 5 yards.
Either that or they call it went off a Norton player, in which case the ball would be down at that particular point. I'm not that up on the signals as to what was going on, but whatever it was, Wadsworth got the ball back.
That's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, Wadsworth 28, Norton 14.
And we'll see if we can give you some 3rd quarter stats. The way the Wadsworth offense works, you almost need a Cray computer to keep up with all the yardage and everything that's going on. And Mr. Postak is now going to shove me some stats as far as Wadsworth. Some interesting numbers. Wadsworth has 13 first downs. They have 5 rushing, and they have 8 of them passing. Surprising for Wadsworth, 6 penalties for 55 yards. And those penalties have come in some critical times. Big running by Joe Tricomie, 20 carries, 120 yards, 1 TD. And of course, Mike Hoover is lots of completions out of lots of attempts for lots of yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw the 1 interception. Actually, Hoover is 13 out of 20 for 182 yards and 3 TDs. Yeah. So we'll start the 4th quarter with Wadsworth taking over the ball on when they get everything settled down here. The ball will be on the Norton, I think about 49-yard line. The referees are going the wrong way with the ball. Okay, yeah, it goes back this way, gang. Yeah, that's right. So now they're spotting it on the 48-yard line of Norton, and it's going to be second down and about 7 yards to go for the Grizzlies.
Second down and 7 yards to go for the Grizzlies.
First play of the fourth quarter. Mike Hoover fakes the handoff, rolls around to his left. The sack is not made. Adam Copeland was there wide open, but the throw was a little long. Hoover doing a nice job eluding number 80, Brian Swain, a defensive end for Norton.
Well, I think what happened when Hoover eluded that hold against Wadsworth, it doesn't matter, but he saw Copeland down there, and his eyes must have gone wide open, and he just cranked the ball a little bit too far. Real interesting stat. Total offense in the third quarter. Wadsworth 120. Norton had 8 yards total offense. So it's going to be a holding against Wadsworth. I wonder if they're going to take the penalty or not. I mean, it would bring up 3rd and 8, but no, they're going to make it 2nd and 18, I think. You can't tell where the ball's spotted because holding's from the spot of the foul.
Yard penalty takes the ball back to the 41-yard line.
So that's going to bring up a second down and 17 for Wadsworth.
Yards to go for the Grizzlies.
We have 11 minutes and I think 51 seconds left in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 17.
Hoover going to roll to his right this time. Throws a spiraling pass. Adam Copeland dove for it at the first down marker. Incomplete. 3rd down and long.
That was uncatchable. The ball was actually out of bounds. Even though you watch Hoover roll, Copeland will come across. He makes a great effort, but even if he had brought the ball down, he would have been out of bounds. There's the throw. Watch Copeland stretch out for this ball. No, not there. So that brings up 3rd and 17.
Two receivers top of the screen for Wadsworth. Hoover eludes again, someone trying to sack him, and finally he is sacked at the 35-yard line.
And that was one of those deals where he managed to get away from the first one just because he's a big, strong kid, but the rest of them got him. So Wadsworth is going to have to punt. Well, there's a lot of pressure on Hoover here, right there, but he gets away from that, can't get away from this one. So number 60 gets credit for the sack. That's Mike Fleeny. And I think this is only Wadsworth's 2nd punt tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Tony Moeller gets off a high one because it was almost blocked. Hits off the foot of a Norton player, and Ben Osterlin caught it. Looked like it came off the heel of a Norton player.
I kind of thought so too, but the refs are saying no. But that's only going to be a 13-yard punt. Now let's see who comes out of quarterback for the Norton Panthers. Remember, under-ation, their first-string quarterback injured his leg on the last play that he ran, and doesn't look like he's going to be back in there. And the quarterback, I think, is going to be number 4, Kevin Johnson, who's been playing a running back tonight. He plays like that H-back, but he's going to be the quarterback. Johnson is a sophomore, 185-pound sophomore. Pitches and fumble, and
fumble on the play. The Panthers recovered.
Norton recovered. So if you look at Johnson, he's listed as an end in the defensive back, 6'4", 185 sophomore. He's not even listed as a quarterback.
And the only other quarterback listed is Matt Mealy, number 29, and he's on offense as a receiver, I believe.
Yeah.
We have a replay of that punt. We'll see it after.
Right there. Oh, no,
nope,
it did not. That was a good call by the referee. The ball was a couple yards short. Good job on the replay, gang.
Johnson rolling to his right. Throws low to Mealy. Incomplete. 3rd down and 11 for the Panthers.
And I think you could see that he's not very used to throwing the ball. The ball came out of his hand, wobbling all over the place. It was very low. That's going to bring up 3rd down for Norton. 10, maybe 11 yards to go.
3rd down and 11 to go for the Panthers.
So if Wadsworth manages to stop Norton here, it'll be the 3rd time in this second half of 3 and out. And it is going to be 3rd time 3 and out.
That handoff went to Lewis Ewell. You spell his last name U-L-E.
Jake Karowski was in on the tackle on that play, and that's going to bring up a 4th down and 6 for Norton, so they're going to have to punt again. And I know there's 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go, but I would say Norton's in really serious trouble now. They're down 2 touchdowns. They've lost their quarterback. They've gained only a total of 11 yards in the second half. They have to turn the ball over to Wadsworth. And its kick is Wadsworth just going to let the ball roll.
And it rolls to the Wadsworth 20.
You see the weird set they had on that punt. That they had like 2 backs to this side in the backfield. It was a strange looking formation, almost like they were trying to take Wadsworth into thinking they're going to try for the pass rather than the punt.
Some of the Norton faithful filing out of the Cyberling Stadium already.
Well, like I say, it's looking pretty tough for Norton right now. And I think the thing that bodes worse for Norton, other than losing their quarterback, is Wadsworth's defense has stepped up huge here in the second half. 3 series of downs, Norton's had the ball. They gained 11 yards, 3 and out each time.
Hoover still in there at quarterback. Quick handoff to Hawkins, the up man, and he gets it across the 25. Hawkins, who was in the ball game real early and now comes into the game real late. Hawkins, the sophomore.
Yeah, he's going to be an exciting person to watch a couple years down the road. He's played some before for the Wadsworth offense, and he's a big, strong kid and has some good outside moves. So
playing fullback. Joe Tricomi gets the give. Doesn't get anywhere on that play.
Wrapped up first by Pat Williams.
They might give him a yard on the play, so it's going to bring up about 3rd and 6. But Chris Hawkins is listed 6'3", 187 as a sophomore. And that's pretty impressive numbers for a kid that's probably only 15 years old.
Maybe 16, and he's going to gain some pounds.
Yeah, the next couple years, that's something that the Wadsworth opponents are going to have to watch out for.
Now, Brink moving to the other end of the line, I formation. Hoover rolling to the right. Quick pass to Brink. Again, gets away from a couple defenders. Fights for the 1st down.
You see Brink coming out there, and I don't know what the defensive backs are thinking, but you just have to hit him solid or he's not going to come down. There are very few in high school, anyhow, defensive backs big enough to one-on-one tackle Chris Brink. And he caught that ball like maybe 5 yards short of the 1st down, was hit immediately, and still bowled his way forward for the 1st down.
I'd like to see him put Brink in there at tailback for a play or two, see what happens. Joe Tricomi around the right. About an 8-yard gain.
Well, I think what's happening now is everything the Wadsworth is trying is working. I think Norton is totally demoralized. You watch this, there's nothing fancy. You just had pitch to Tricomi, but in the 1st half where it wasn't going anywhere, now they're just rolling down the field. That was a 9-yard gain. So it's going to be 2nd and 1, and the ball is on the 44-yard line.
Of course, Chris Brink earlier in his high school football career was a running back. Moved him to tight end, defensive end, and being looked at as a linebacker in college. Hoover, long throw down the sideline, way over everybody's head, incomplete.
That was a good call on 2nd and 1. You've always got 3rd down to pick it up. The problem with Chris Brink as far as being a linebacker, I mean a tight end is concerned, he's actually rather small for a college tight end. In college, tight ends are really mostly, huge blockers that can catch a ball for maybe 5 yards. Chris is kind of like half tight end, half wide receiver, so maybe linebacker would be the position for him in college.
He's got the speed for sure.
He certainly does, yeah.
Joe Tricomi, Wadsworth keeping it on the ground.
I don't know if he got it or not.
Run out some of the clock. Clock stops on that play. They want a measurement.
No, they say Wadsworth got the 1st down. They gave it to him. So there's Tricomi just bulling ahead behind that line blocking and got just enough to get the 1st down. So now the clock continues to run. I think there's 6:39 to go. And I think Wadsworth would really be content just to run the ball, and just run the clock down as far as they can here.
Tony Moeller back in at fullback. Joe Tricomi up the middle, cuts to the left. And takes it down to the 40. There's a flag.
There's 2 flags on the play. Second one come in really late. We're going to have to see what happens here. They're calling a face mask, I think, on Norton. Nope. Holding on Wadsworth. Let's see if we can catch the holding. Nice run by Tracomie. And here we go here. There's the hold right there. I think they called Copeland for holding. And they're moving the ball back. But that's one of those, because it's from the spot of the foul, Wadsworth actually gained a yard on the play. So it's an 11-yard gain, a 10-yard penalty, so it's going to bring up 1st and 9 for Wadsworth. That's 8 penalties for 75 yards for Wadsworth. And again, I don't know how many they've had all year, but that has to be approximating their total penalty yardage for the whole year.
Tracomie takes it to the left.
There's going to be another holding penalty on Wadsworth, I think.
Tracomie, the ball carrier.
Now I'm looking at that Wadsworth offensive line, and that's their first team line. Here comes Tracomie. See if we can catch a hold here. Yeah, there it is right there on number 78.
That's Evan Gosser.
Evan Gosser. And they called a clip on that. It looked like Goss was holding, but they're calling a clipping, a 15-yard penalty on Wadsworth. That's 90 yards in penalties for Wadsworth, and that makes it a 1st down and about 25. And I think on a play like this, you have your milers go deep and your 440 runners, they do wideouts.
Okay,
like
Larry.
Yep.
90 yards in penalties.
Yeah.
In the first 5 games, Wadsworth was penalized 162 yards.
So they're over half the penalties tonight they have been for the whole year.
Chris Hawkins tripped up at the 37.
So Norton was going to let them have that. It's one of those deals. We'll give you a few yards, but we won't give you a lot.
2nd and long for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, he picked up about 3, so that's going to make it 2nd and 22. But really, that's not important. The important numbers are right above that, where it says 5:38 and the clock is running in the 4th quarter.
And 28-14.
Yeah, those are the numbers that count, not 2nd and 18.
Mike Hoover barks out the play, gives the ball to Joe Tracomie.
He's got a 1st down.
And he's tackled at the 41, pushed out of bounds. Nice run, Joe Tracomie.
But the thing that amazed me most about that play, there wasn't a penalty flag on it. That's a 23-yard pickup for Tracomie, who must now have something like 140 yards rushing. He must be having the best night of his career. 168 yards rushing for Tracomie, say our stats people.
And a long, you know.
And plus he's had a couple of big gains called back on penalties too.
22 yards to go with the Wadsworth offense. You're thinking pass. They gain 23 on the ground. Joe Tracomie again gains another 6-7 yards at the 35 now is Wadsworth.
Well, what's happening is the left side of the Wadsworth offensive line is just moving out the right side of the Norton defense. You can see Tracomie was 5 yards downfield before anybody even got close to him. And like I say, give credit to the Wadsworth offensive line for that. That brings up a 2nd down and 4 for Wadsworth on the 35-yard line of Norton.
4:15 and counting left in the ball game. Ben Vujis in motion. Mike Hoover hands again to Joe Tracomie.
Squirts through for the 1st down.
Takes it to the 30 of Norton.
5 yards and a 1st down for Wadsworth. Ball's on the 30-yard line, and at the rate they're going here, they're going to run the clock out before the game, before Norton gets the ball again.
Joe Tracomie calling his name a lot this series. Another flag.
That's a very late flag. I don't know what that's going to be. That might be a personal foul because it came in so late. You didn't think it was part of the play. But it looks like they're calling against Wadsworth. Up to a holding penalty against Wadsworth again. So that makes a 100 yards even in penalties for the Wadsworth Grizzlies tonight. And it'll bring up a 1st down and 18 because the holding took place about 2 yards past the line of scrimmage.
3.5 minutes left in the game. Wadsworth taking their good old time.
490-0993.
This time to Hawkins, the up back. The line just powers him forward. Now he's brought back. The whistle's going to blow, and the ball will be marked at the 35.
Gained about 5, so it'll be second down and maybe 14 on the 35-yard line. Now we're down to 2 minutes and 54 seconds, and the clock is running.
Second down and 15 yards to go.
Actually, they only gave him a 3-yard pickup on that. They spotted it right on the 35-yard line. So Wadsworth comes out again. What do you think it's going to be? You think they're going to pass or punt? What do you think? No? Okay.
Okay, fans, stop playing.
Wadsworth pitches it. Joe Tricome
Oh, my.
has a hole. Gets a block. Another flag.
Flag on the play is Tricome.
He got run out of bounds at the 20. Tricome running
You watch
hard.
this play. It's not like there's a hole on the left side. There's no left side of the Norton line, and on down he goes. Now, I didn't see the hold at all, but they're calling a hold on the play, and they're going to bring the ball back. So that makes, what, 110 yards in penalties for Wadsworth? Well, this is kind of funny. They go 10 yards forward, 5 yards back, 20 yards forward, 10 yards back. It wasn't 15, but it's 10. So this is going to bring up, no, that was a clip they called, not a hold.
We have a radio announcer from WHLO here tonight. I went over to check to see if he was receiving any other Suburban League scores from the station. He is not. Just curious about the Revere-Copley game.
Yeah. So that brings the ball back to the 41-yard line. It's going to bring up a second down and 22. And really all this is doing is allowing Wadsworth to hold on to the ball. We're now down to 2 minutes and 10 seconds to play. And there goes Tricome again.
To the right this time. Takes it to the 34.
And that's going to bring up a third down and maybe 14, 15 yards to go. And Wadsworth is in no hurry to break the huddle. We're down to 1:34 to play. And, in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't pick it up here. They just run the ball on first down and say to Norton, okay, here's the ball on your 30-yard line.
590-0798.
Tricome again, and he's at close to 200 yards rushing.
That's 200 yards even for Tricome if they get 9 yards on the play. Again, nothing fancy. They're just pounding the outside off tackle. 31 carries for Joe Tricome. I don't know what the record is for a Wadsworth back, but that's getting up there. So now we're going to have a fourth down and about 9 yards to go. And
I would look for Joe Tricome.
Yeah, like I say, there's no sense trying the field goal. Could be blocked. You don't need the points. No sense throwing the ball or punting. So they're just going to probably run it up the gutter around the end here.
Under a minute to go. Hoover going to roll to the left. Goes to the end zone for Vujis. Dives, makes the catch inside the 5. What an athletic play by Ben Vujis.
Something I've noticed, particularly the last 2 games, as great a quarterback as Mike Hoover is, his wide receivers make him look good. And there was another example there. Now, granted, there was nobody on Vujis. He had broke behind everybody, but that was a circus catch that he made down there. Clock's running. 33 seconds to go. Wadsworth's on the 2-yard line, so I think they're probably just going to try to punch it in. And as soon as I say they're just going to run out the clock, what does Hoover do? He throws another bomb. So
again, great catch by Vujis, putting Wadsworth there, and Hoover
yeah, not trying to mess over the.
Don't want to run up the score.
No, that was a nice gesture on the part of the Wadsworth coaches.
So the Wadsworth Grizzlies go to 6-0 on the season.
Norton falls to 1-5, and next week Talmadge. And the players are walking off the field. And again, I give a lot of credit to the Wadsworth coaches, not trying to punch that within. Good sportsmanship. So there you go.
28-14 is your final score, and as you see, Wadsworth keeps the victory bell. They are rolling it out onto the field. Wadsworth, the incumbent with the bell, keeps it with tonight's victory. Next week we will be against Talmadge at Outright Stadium. Grizzlies now 3-0 in the Suburban League. We'll find out what Copley and Revere and all the other Suburban League teams did. Tune into Grizzly Gridiron Tuesday night. We'll have the highlights of this ball game. Next weekend, of course, is homecoming. We hope to see everybody there. Grizzly TV at yahoo.com. All the information on Grizzly Television Productions. And we hope that you've enjoyed the coverage so far this season on WCTV Channel 16. A great crew directed by Ken Buck. Thanks again to Larry Varner helping me out in the broadcast. Once again, the final score, Wadsworth 28, Norton 14. See you next time. So long, everybody.